So if you remember 2 slides, I will go upper. Here are the different boxes. You can here see what are available as tools on the Cefic web. So there is a newsletter on the guidance on use and expert scenario development and supply chain communication. There is the VCI practical guide on CSR and expert scenario, expanded safety data sheet, sorry. There is the DUC, which is the downstream users of chemicals coordination group. So it's more trade association from downstream users meeting together to get a platform and developed a use template. And in fact, there are different tools. So for the preparation phase, there was and there is a use communication holding letter trying to keep a top-down approach, meaning we expected that the registrants would start the communication and would not be overflooded by downstream users' communication, which unfortunately is nowadays happening. This is a major concern, but this is it. We have guidances on GES, so generic expert scenarios processes and specific expert scenarios processes and plus templates. We have some guidance on use and expert scenario communication, and we have an IT tool requirements. Please keep in mind that even if there could be discussions between the trade associations, downstream user trade associations, and the registrants, each of your company, each of the registrant must do a specific communication with its specific customers. So there is a guide on IT tools requirement for example, creating some website where customers can go and have a look at his suppliers, let's say expert scenarios, users covered, and so on. There is a guidance on strictly controlled intermediates available as well. And for the communication, there is a guidance on expert scenario for preparations and the model, which is called DPD+, but I won't discuss much about this. Other challenges ahead. So this is not an exhaustive list, unfortunately. As we discussed, the first main challenge is the communication and especially the supply chain communication. REACH is complex in terms of technique and in terms of expertise, and it is complex in terms of communication. So the flood of use communication, the format, the use descriptors, which is not always understood by the downstream users or even by the registrants sometimes because it's a moving target. And the new extended safety data sheet, the format and the transitional measures would be, I fear, a challenge as well. CNL notification. For the 2010 registration deadline, you certainly know that if you document your CNL according to the CLP regulation in your registration dossier, you don't have to make a notification, separate notification. But otherwise, for the CNL notification under the CLP regulation, there are many substances which we would call outside REACH because of the tonnage threshold, which is practically 1 gram for the CLP regulation. Another issue is the fact that only representatives, in theory, cannot notify under the CLP regulation. So this is triggering a lot of discussions here. But they still are doing REACH registrations, so we have a problem there of conflicting views. There is the issue of the nonce, meaning the notified substances already, and the notified substances were not always and were not notified with the CLP regulation classification and labeling, so it needs to be updated, and there are some discussions there. And the IT tools for CNL notification and what is available at ECHA. Recently, meaning I think it was in March and in April, ECHA releases the tools, and there are some tools functionalities which are worth exploring. The bulk notification, which allows to notify several substances in one shot, so which is quite good for big companies with a big portfolio. And there is, and it is not mentioned here, but the functionality for a group of notifiers, meaning you create a group of legal entities and you submit a notification on behalf of a group. But there are some challenges in terms of liability there, and well, in the Rich IT working group, we're currently working on a guide to provide some support to industry on this. I mentioned here authorization. Well, you perhaps know the concept of substances of very high concern and the regimes of authorization and restriction. For the moment, I won't say it's calm, but still, we recently had a communication by the DG Environment and DG Enterprise commissioners that it would sharply increase by the end of the year when the first registration dossier will arrive. And they expect something like 130 dossier, well, substances to be of very high concern compared to 35, I think, at the moment. So a big increase. And then finally some question marks because, well, as a moving target, we always have new challenges occurring. Last point on the agenda is the Directors Contact Group, the DCG, you may have heard about. So here is the structure. Basically, the DCG is a very high-level meeting place with people from DG Environment, DG Enterprise, for Commission, with ECHA, High Representative, and with Industry, High Representative, CEFIC, but as well Eurometo and some others. And this group was created in order to try and streamline the REACH processes to find solutions to the still occurring or faced problems. So in fact, there is some informal cooperation with ECHA in order to sometimes find easy and practical solutions. But when the issues are with policy implications or complex technical issues, then sometimes it needs to be raised at a higher level. So it is raised to the Directors Contact Group, which have defined strategies and priorities, and which is high level enough in order to make policy decisions. These persons rely on a Sherpa group which make the preparation of proposals or options to be analyzed, assessed, and let's say validated by the Directors Contact Group. So the mandate and the objectives of this DCG. So first of all, it's to monitor the overall preparedness of companies as to meeting the 2010 registration deadline. There is, for example, the action, the ECHA survey and the industry survey to indeed monitor the status. And one of the objectives is to identify and resolve the issues of concern. And as an action, there is a description of the issue and the proposed solution to make sure that we get as smooth as possible registration by 2010. For your information, the third DCG meeting took place on the 8th of April, and the next meeting is on May the 11th. So there is a monthly meeting to make sure that the process goes fast and that there are practical solutions which are implemented. So the priority issues there are 27 identified issues. Out of these 27, 15 have already a solution identified, and the ECHA and Commission are already implementing them. There are 5 remaining issues, and currently 7 prioritized issues according to agreed criteria between ECHA, Commission, and Industry. So you can see completeness of dossier, some issue on the CIF, the dependency on the lead registrant in the CIF, the users not covered by registration, the CIF without an EU manufacturer, the very late activity in a CIF, and the legal entity change management. And you can see that for at least 3 of them, solutions have been provided. And for the others, well, the group is still working to provide some implementable solutions. I just give you some useful links, CEFIC Rich and Room Rich Link website, which is what we call the CEFIC Galaxy websites. The ESET-OCTRA website for the expert scenarios and assessment. Of course, the ECHA website, and well, I didn't provide the Commission websites, but these are useful links to look at. So as a conclusion, we can say that we're still in a big mess, I think, unfortunately, and sorry? I think that we're making progresses still. I think so, yes. Or at least let's try to be optimistic. Yeah? And the we can discuss that later if you want. And we, in fact, we really would like that industry who faces a lot of concerns, of issues, goes from the left-hand side to the right-hand side, and that the processes are streamlined, and more we build our knowledge, we understand more and more how to work, and understand as well the ECHA requirements, and at the end of the day, we all of us may reach a success.